Alright. Just finishing up a few things, starting a bit later than I expected, but that's fine. Mm-hmm. Well, I think today I'm going to be working on some character designs like I had done last time. And that was Purgatory Patriarch or Limbo Lumberjack. I'll continue on with him since I've given it a week. We'll see what I can make out of it. Just finishing up a few thoughts on something. Alright. Alright. So I'm actually super excited. We're gonna I was kind of inking this. How about this? Instead of being all to myself and not letting you see the other screen that I have up that I've been looking at, let's just turn over and show that this is where we were last Saturday we are making some characters. Actually, was this a Wednesday? I don't know. These days are blending together. I bet you everyone feels like that now. Staying at home now that we got to extend it a little bit longer. So, you know what? Actually, I really like the face, but I need to start thinking about these eyes on these characters. It's very... See if I explore expression on these characters, I start seeing a bit of a problem. It's very absent. Now, of course, this is called Ginge Snaps, and that was misspelled. Let's redo that. Ginge Snaps for reason is that actually the main character, Ginge, is a redhead. And therefore, I was thinking, how can I make him more expressionless? The best way was just little eye slats. Just simple lines. Not something as complicated as this. Right? Because there's quite a bit of a difference in expression you can see in these two forms. One where the eyes actually have they are focused somewhere, and you know what the focus is. And not only that, but if I really wanted to make it, I could easily like turn the eyes upward a bit more. You can see suddenly it's more of a concerned look towards that person with this, I don't know what's going on, or I can even go downward and really go, I'm really pissed off, I'm perturbed, I'm just, nah. So, this is part of character design, is trying to be, I guess, unique in your own way and simplify things, but at the same time, you have to also remember, you gotta express what you're trying to do. So, in this, what shall I do today? Well, given our limbo lumberjack here, our buddy, the somewhat inked right here, this character may push that over a little bit further. Come on. Come on. Yeah, I'm pretty close to that. Trying to find that sweet spot. Well, how would a character... How can I keep a simple eye shape? If that's the case, I could also just make any person with red hair with these eye slants, so you really can't tell what their full emotion. That's a possibility. Really make Gingers more alien. See, that's the case. Then if I want to keep in some of this. Because I definitely So there it is with more expressive eyes. You can see where he's looking, see what what action is. And if I get more eyebrow action into it, you can definitely see see if he's upset or angry or happy instead of just looking for cues from the mouth or even from the bridge of the nose, if I so desire. But there is something to the expressionless, like doing a deadpan joke is kind of funny too. So there's also using that in every how I say certain things in the comic is always having that deadpan look, because that's kind of what a lot of it has been, is more deadpan kind of jokes, just like here's something, let me present it, and then you kind of you find it funny because it's almost serious to the point where it's a joke, it's just too much so. So it's really like trying to figure out the best way to portray that humor, and that's why I constantly go back and forth. It's because like Ginge has that kind of deadpan humor. He's almost innocent to a point, so it's really interesting. But actually, what am I doing? I also forgot. There, that way anyone joins in there, I will be able to see it, which works great. Okay, so got the stance down that I was thinking, and I even have, come on, I have my full body design. I can definitely feel I'm channeling other sources when I made this character. All right then. So now we'll keep the eyes simple for now, but I'm definitely going to have to consider this. I'm going to do a new sketch of this guy. So I'm going to turn on the mini version. Nope. And there we go. So I have some reference to some body structure. And how would we like to present in this new way? Oh yeah, that's the pet rock. I should start presenting the fact that, yeah, these heads are definitely more cylindrical, which then also easily adds to how the shoulders are when you right. That's not quite. Yeah. Trying to get a slap of the knee. This is the crack hand coming up. Actually, this would be more across his body. That's right. Slap of the knee is across the body. What's wrong with me? So you crack, you slap, you usually bring it up to the next shoulder almost when you get in an exaggerated form. So his arm is completely compressed up towards his chest. As you're gonna see is like that's a tricky one. The knee is up, hips are he's down like this, hips turn inward. So you gotta be like, oh. And the other one is planted. Definitely. And I'm gonna bring it back. This. I do like doing a lot of figure. It's kind of a bit of a felony. Actually, definitely have the How does his nose look? Now this is one part of the expression I know I can do. Again, his head is capped off, but he's got some. It's definitely balding. His ears then coming down. Again, these people that I design have no neck, head's rather large. He's got his suspenders. There we go. So now to figure out this other arm real quick. Nope, that's getting kind of awkward. And I'm getting somewhere. Oops. He's looking a bit A bit much. But, you know, it doesn't hurt to exaggerate. We can always pull things back. As for shoes, did I give him a shoe design? No, I gave him what looks like just giant blocked feet. Yeah. A lot of busyness around all that. You can see we're translating different shapes. Forehead so far forward. It's got that weird, almost fisheye looking thing going on. You know, just because I can. Let's see if I can ink this and kind of show off the depth of this character as it is right now. Oops. No, maybe even work with a little bit smaller brush. This is, you know, since we're exploring this character, I also want to see inking in many ways, because this really kind of helps me understand the depth, the dimensions of this character as well. Because in the end, like, I'm gonna have to make sure I have an understanding of this perspective that this character has, and this how he presents himself in this world. Just keeping things simple. As few strokes as stuff as I can help. And then, of course, this is in front. This is farther in front of that one. This is in front of that. Alright, now this hand. Yep, and something. Nails can at least give me some direction, some idea where things are. There. This has got to be thicker. As a matter of fact, a lot of this has to be really thick lines. Because after all, this is actually, I think that arm is closer, if not the closest object. The knee technically should be, because you do curl up your arm past your knee, so that this, let's see, now I'm going to go a little bit bigger, because when I'm doing the knee, I want this portion to be the thickest. So that's further out than the rest of it. So we're going to actually just turn it down and make sure I can't make anything past 25 points. Just, you know, so I can keep to that scale. And that's a limitation I'm putting on myself, to try to figure out some of this. And then of course we got it's thicker. Yeah, suspenders, they don't form the same way. We got they're elastic, they stick to one One thing, they don't fold with the body so easily. Get those in. Again, I won't be able to get it as big as that in the ESL right now, but we're getting it in there. Show you how much. This leg. Now pant leg. This is pretty far inward, comes out. Ooh, now that I need to remember. Shoulder round. Yes. Maybe? So I did give him just like kind of these block shoes. Yeah, that's not the best. I'm gonna have to rethink his pants and shoes here a bit. It's like this is the point. Is like I'm getting to see some of this design, and whether or not it's working out. That's why we got to draw characters in multiple stances, different ways to present their emotion, to present themselves here. So just like how you'd audition for a part in a play, well, these characters are doing the same thing for me right now. They're auditioning based upon what I see them doing. Now let's go back and do that again. And we got yeah. I'm gonna finish when I started, of course. Oh, that's a little too curving. But I'm not entirely satisfied with some things. So we'll finish and we'll take a look at that. See what it is that I need to work on to develop this character, and one of which is such an obvious thing because these feet. So I turn that off. In a stance like that, the character has its shape, has quite a bit going on, quite a bit of action. The immediate problems. I will do it in red because we're going to correct these things as we can. The hand, especially right there. How I drew that is not, does not seem to be folding right in my mind. The most obvious, of course, is the feet. I don't like the foot design I was doing because they're too much of a box. I don't think he's really wearing boxed shoes, unless I think of him more of like, I guess, as a hobo or somebody that's a hypochondriac that's wearing Kleenex boxes on his feet. But I don't think of him that way. So, plus it's not very effective if he's an outdoor lumberjack. I think those are like the two most obvious. Like I'm not caring for that hand either, so I probably need to rethink these hand designs. Because I am trying to think of a new way to do the hands, and that so therefore it's not like my usual where they're a little bit just kind of sausages, which I mean it's still kind of getting that sausagey look, but I don't know, I'm trying to be more dynamic with those hands. So maybe what I really need to do is take a look at foot design for myself, for my characters here. So, we think of that. We got the goofy foot, got the big ball. It goes off into nothing. Wraps around with a nice little collar on the shoe, and then just. Then there's this arch, you know, since the interior foot, there's the arch on the inside. There's the curve for the front of the shoe. And then there's big, because he's got big old toes inside his shoes. So if we're looking at Goofy's foot, of course, we're taking a brief moment here. So that's a Goofy foot. Goofy foot has big toes. Does my character have big toes? I mean, I could even present them like big toe. And then got the rest. Rest of the shoe here. You know, we can see that. We can even see the next toe a little bit. Get a glimpse. The rest in there is dark. Right? We do something like this. This adds a lot of characters. Normally, again, right after the toes, there's a bit of a dip. We're going to exaggerate that, and then it goes right into the foot. So we got some pretty tattered shoe here. Heel. Heel doesn't have that little arch, but this inside would. So we got these low tops. So like there's that foot design, which still is, you know, turned out kind of flat though. But that's mainly because of this area. I'm making that a little too flat. Because tell me that I need to think of it as a cylinder going into, in many ways, a box. And that's what I'm trying to figure out is, how does that cylinder fit into the box? And we can even take a look at some of these shapes. And even for them, we got at the base of the cylinder again. Goes out to wider shapes. We got stuff like this. We got all these things to consider as our base shapes underneath it all. Squares. When creating motion in these characters, but keeping it simple like a Goofy foot, and maybe not overcomplicated when we do that. Even though if that's part of the story, if he's, you know, shoes are tattered, and maybe that's, you know, the whole point, then we'll explore that. So the bigger question is, how exaggerated do I want this foot? Which how would this foot look on this guy? That's a big question. I mean, I got pretty big feet myself, so do I want a rounded down? What that D? Interesting song names. Listen to Techno AX. See, if I do that, then you don't really see anything other than just the light coming out. So then what other angle would I show this particular foot at? And it would be trying to do this trapezoid, this odd shaped trapezoid. Show that this is technically where the big foot is, the big toe is, and then we got our other toes. But if we did that, we'd have to remember to do this. As it showed in mid-step. But usually you don't want to go straight on anyways to a lot of things. It's a very boring angle to use. So if I really wanted to see this shoe in all its glory, let's try to think of it at least sideways. So if this is the case, then it wouldn't necessarily come down all the way, would I? Present that yes, there's a big old stoop there. How was the... This is reminding me of like the... I really want to say this gentleman's name was Commander Keen. And I know that was also the name of a video game. A little boy that was in space that crash landed. And that is really off. That's almost presenting too much on the one side. There gotta be less on that. So I'm trying to take some inspiration from Goofy Foot. Trying to present that big toe in such a way that's so much bigger than the rest of the foot. That angle makes it look really awkward. That's not gonna work for me. Of course, if I kept them box-shaped and simple, that would be one way, but I want it dynamic. See, as I make this box shape off to the side, then I try to present a new one. Is that? This is turning into the hand incident now that I had earlier with this guy. Oh no. But again, character design. We're gonna draw these characters over and over again until we go like, is this how he dresses? Now I have to think, how do I dress myself? Uh-oh. I don't think of myself as very fashionable. Maybe because I wear a lot of black. It's very flattering. Well, let us do this. Because, you know, right now I've been working from no reference whatsoever. Why don't we take a few looks at some feet? See what I can find. This is probably one of the weirdest searches I'm going to do on Google. I'm just going to put in feet and see what I find. Oh good, brings up human anatomy right away. We're good. Oh, some people have some talented toes. So if this is the case, looking at the weight of a human foot, we can see so we got this, we got into the ankle, and then we also I'm really doing a very rough version of the human for many of these cases. Just getting an understanding more so of how this shape really, don't like those lines, it's really being presented. Somewhat that, but it's still it's almost like I made this a little too big over on this side. So this, to understand a bit more, actually goes on in further. Just feels like that's very deep. Actually, maybe deep cross section. So yeah. There's a shift in weight. So very rough understanding of it from a reference, which then in this case we can also take from I'm still kind of looking at this from a cartoonist point of view with exaggerating what I see. But, you know, trying to get the shape, but then nonetheless. So you got all those shapes at the top of these stems. That one. So you can also see that there's that going on, and then the heel. And of course, this is where the pad of the foot is connected to the ground, so there's a bit of flatness right there. Interesting. This is part of the fun of doing drawings, looking at human anatomy. We are understanding it based upon shapes. Because if we also then present that, and I go, boom, over the top. So what are my basic shapes that I'm looking at here? It is very much can do that as one. I've got, and this is just two-dimensionally really looking at these. We're not even trying to make full blocks. Let's see that we broke that one down. And really doesn't, like, that kind of thing doesn't even show us, like, the depth, like, where everything is coming at us, how the information should be interpreted. That's where this kind of does, because we understand that looks like, well, that's the underbody of the foot. These basic forms, these basic shapes that we're messing around with. These, though, well, this. And even how the leg comes out of the foot matters. Flash dance. Three-dimensional box. Trying to cut off where the toes are, and then we've got cylinders. Easily come out of those. Look at us. Sometimes you have to go back to basics just to really kind of grab what you're trying to think. You know, a physicist once tweeted that even he has to look up the equation for volume at times, or there are certain equations, because you're just not going to remember everything right when you need it. Sometimes taking a look at a photo real quick and understanding it once again, doing a few little things, getting your mind going, I'm understanding a foot a bit more again. Just to jog your memory can make a difference. So we get, when we draw that three-dimensional, it looks kind of wonky, but it's still, it's making more sense. So then, looking back at these, knowing when a line fades away and when it presents itself can make a difference. Works a lot nicer. Again, how do I present that? Okay, just portion that because we are going up and then upward. crease. Because that'd be a walking moment. Look at us go. We are making feet. Present the same box. So that's case, then this whole line gets hidden when I do a design like that. I have to make sure it comes out. It's got this very awkward line there. Because that's thinking it three-dimensionally. Let's see, it doesn't generate the same information. There's a line or something I'm missing that would make that more understandable. It's like Goofy's foot. Keep a nice over, and then round, boom. So what we're doing is presenting this. They're similar. That's the problem, is that since we're lowering that one side down, it doesn't translate as well as when you try to scoop out the other side of that foot. It really, because it's almost like it's a line that just comes right out of that. So then suddenly it makes the whole design flat. And I think that's where my problem is. I'm trying to make that big toe so exaggerated and so big for this character. It's not translating well on certain views. I think that's what it is. Give an ultimately big toe, but I'm having problems hiding. I'm having problems with a hidden line that's losing its translation. There has to be some other way I can exaggerate this to get that form. And it's either a longer foot as right here can show. So longer foot would allow me more information, but it definitely means it's got a long foot. It allows me to have that hidden line to be a bit more accurate in how it moves from the toes. At the same time, shoe could be more uniform. Because we look at the toe underneath and feet underneath. I think I present them with. There. Just a little bit off because it looks like I kind of pushed the pinky toe a little too far away, but ideally that's what we're looking for. That's a lot of feet. I could make him barefoot all the time. I have to always draw his toes. Is the toe big enough? Just trying to make sure it goes back. Whee! And definitely I've drawn so many toes. I mean, it's very interesting actually drawing the foot instead of just going, hey, you know, it's hidden underneath the shoe. Because these are three-toed people and three-fingered with a thumb. I mean, I could technically give them a fourth toe if I really wanted to. Really. That works. I almost want to put more of a bend into this section, though. Like as if it's just in the middle of... There we go. See, I like it because I feel like I'm getting some motion already into this particular foot. Should just go up a bit. Feel like I'm generating some movement with that, especially if I go. Stay away from doing that. It would be interesting to have him just running around in his bare feet. He'd be my only character probably doing this. So that's the case. He's also got like little sunspots. Maybe, yeah. So many little weird things we can add to his feet to give him a little more character. What if it's really hairy? It's kind of a more of a Bigfoot-esque hairy foot guy. Hobbit foot. There we go. Mm-hmm. There. Actually, it almost feels like this heel is actually a bit more. Actually, feels like this should be. Somehow more hidden. I don't know, it'd be a lot of work if I ever show his toes more often, too. Or his feet, I should say, in general. Yeah, he's more owl natural. If that's the case, why don't I just have him run around with the freaking leaf on? That'd really make him all natural. Minimize. Make sure we can see everything. Alright. Going through quite a few. I mean, I could just keep it simple. Don't need to overthink it. Can just do goofy feet all the time. Do that bulbous front and then leads all the way into the back. To its foot, to its ankle. Because it's not like I'm giving them shoelaces or anything, because I'd be adding way too many things. And of course, by making a foot like this, where you can see the toes, also means that I'm adding a lot of extra things to it that, well, just adds to all the work. Yeah, that's why we want to make it a simple shape. Don't want all the extras. Because this might end up just being the design I use for all the characters then, too. So that's another reason why I'm willing to give it a little bit more time. Because if I figure this out now, this will just be shoe design, except for like when I guess I have to do high heels, because there's that. And then three-dimensionally, there's like, got that going on. So as this even swooping line that comes through. How does that want to present itself? Because you also so there we go. So that's if you ever do a high heel. We have this to consider because we got that. So it's not like it's an open toe version, which would be. Then you really gotta go. Oh my. Here's one digit. Two. Really just kind of doing it. Drawing all those toes. So that's a design. That's a design thing. Is like, do I really want to do all that work? Does it really present that much of a character change? And like this person really just like their open toe heels? Is it a necessity for their character? You always have to argue these things with yourself when designing, because if it doesn't, then do not make that. Do not do it. Keep it closed. Keep it simple. Especially if it's not a reoccurring character, because like if it's not reoccurring, then you know, present them as as much as you can for it, so you can go a little bit more higher detailed. Like we're going to do this one time anyways. We're just going to add a little extra here and be done, and I won't have to have this character. But if it ever reoccurs, you have to draw those details over and over again to present. Yeah, that's who this person is. So we do it this way. That's the fun part about designing. It's really exploring your character, understanding them. And this is a character I didn't really even kind of flesh out even beforehand too. So I didn't expect it. So that's what I found most fun about that character, with this character. So it's not someone I expected to be drawing, and I think it might become more of a reoccurring character kind of thing. So that's why I'll give it more time. Because it's kind of the thing I'm also developing with like these, like so how many characters are really going to be showing up more often, how many are just going to be one-shots, how many are, what's the point? What's the point of these characters? And in this case, this guy might have some morality into his character. So in this case, he's always got to be able to put the right foot forward. I don't know. There's no reason for me to focus on feet this much, except for I think this is kind of the design I'm just going to stick with. Very simple, very kind of trapezoid-shaped front toe section with just a very narrow back end. So very much taking from the goofy foot, instead of doing the circular big round, I'll do a trapezoid. Keep it a little bit boxish. And try not to do anything dynamic like that to really mess with it. Really just keep it, apply this. Just apply, keep it simple. Kiss. Keep it simple. Because I like this. This is where, I'm kind of feeling it. I'm loving this. I am kind of, just big nose. And these are not, these are not to be implied for kissing, no, or anything. Those are real, just like nose. I like this design. So I will keep it simple. I won't do too much more, but I also have a better understanding that it's a front trapezoid, not this awkward trapezoid, but a trapezoid. And see the difference? I'm not going to present this as the bigger toe with smaller ones across. I'm going to present this as the big toe with still smaller ones across, but the shoe obviously has the space for it. So you won't be able to see that he's got this huge big toe compared to the rest while in his shoe. Alright, so where are my layers? There's a bunch of feet. There's this character. Let us see. Nope, don't mess with that. We're going to go in here. We're going to make a layer on top of it. We know it's a matter of perspective, because we know that over here is going to be larger than what is back there, but not by much. Toes are pointing a little bit further forward. They're definitely does this seem about right? That's a very narrow foot, so let's try this again. We really want the toes to be a little bit bigger, a little bit wider than the ankle. This line needs to be shorter. Cut in sooner. Same thing with you. Which then means... Is that right? No, it's still not. Alright. And let us design an arrow. Which way are the toes pointing? The toes are pointing downward this way. Alright. Let's get the depth of the arrow. Keep that in mind. That is the direction the foot should show. And let's also switch up the color so I can draw over the top of that, making it really easy to see. So again, we're gonna... This side does not come in as much as this one does. So we are presented the toes somewhat. I think we're going to pull back on that. I'm wondering, because like this line, is that appropriate? Because that line is what's messing with me then. That is the line. So maybe we don't need it at all. Because there's a lot more information being told through that. And this is going back to even his original design, so if we take this back and go, kind of present a little bit more over the top. Your question is always, how much heel? So we can design his feet like that. Keep it incredibly simple. Just make them blocks. Because how often am I going to show the feet? That's my bigger questions. How often? And these are starting to look like gloves. I need to change that. If this is the case, we also have, nope. There we go. There. That foot is a hell of a lot easier to present. And this also means that this knee is coming out in this direction, while this foot is about the same angle, but you know, opposite from it. So the knee most likely will follow where the toes land. The toes will, if you're trying to pivot or turn, will definitely turn with it, but that depends. But usually your knee is always lined up with your big toe. Usually. Not always. There are certain circumstances where it changes that. And of course, there's also a limited amount of degrees you can change anyways. So it won't be absolutely perfect, because that's where, you know, if you land wrong on your ankle, your foot twists. If you land wrong on the foot, your ankle twists, what I should say. So, at the same time, like, if I want to really show, like, he's into this, he'd be a little bit up on his big toe and a little bit further forward. So this leg technically should be tucked back a bit further and presented a little bit differently. So we can take a look at that now. Is then nope. Again. There. That works a lot nicer when we get a little bit further out. Yep, because he's a bit more chipper Of course, I also need to work in. Can I heal? Does, you know, the heal almost looks like it's too big? Like it's turned into somewhat of a raft. So now the question is, do I steer away from it? Does it really need to be that much smaller? Probably. This is a particular art style. There's so many other art styles. If I really just wanted to present it, it's like, to be honest, I don't think I've ever stood and looked at an anime foot. Why don't I do that now? See if I can draw a few of those. Get a different understanding altogether. See if there's something about that I might like more. Of course, this is where probably my search is going to look weird. A bit. But I mean, they present all the toes as the bigger thing. It's really not that much different than what I've been doing. Understanding of feet. Now this is one I like, seeing, because this one's presenting a foot, but then also showing a line of action, the form of which it can take for these moments. So let me take a look at this too. So again, an artist, just like a writer, your job is never to stop learning. You always want to look at reference, always want to look at something else. Take real life, take any form, take anything you can, and reimagine it how you see. So, again, you're never going to stop learning. Once you accept that from being an artist, you know that you're in for a long haul. And I've said it a few times, Da Vinci never really finished his drawing. And most artists don't actually finish drawings, they abandon them. They abandon them so they can move on to the next one and start thinking and understanding another form. So if this is my line of action, this is somebody standing up on their toes, no less. Because this is a very long foot that's standing upward. So then, take that understanding, go that. We also want to make sure we got our big toe. So yes, I am trying to present this in a cartoonish-like way at the same time. So we got the heels, the bend there. It goes upward. So I'm looking for those exaggerated shapes, these beautiful curves, and just go for those forms. The front, practically, because other than toes, this comes back, and this has a long, this follows the line of action more so than anything. So it really doesn't show too much depth, and it's really a side profile. And I'd even have to say, like, this part right here needs something to translate that a bit more. Can we bring these forms out? Can we present it? That's all I'm trying to do is exaggerate this form. Get this big toes perspective so we can see it. Maybe my problem is that I'm not tucking this line in far enough. Maybe? So, I mean, in there it's rather flat because like the whole portion of the toe going into the ball of the foot, or like right here, it's like right, it's just like how that is, just like there. And then a portion of this foot is supposed to go upward into another box shape. And then the heel presents itself in this all cylindrical. Then we got the rest of the body going up from that point. So if we break it down to its shapes again, you can see some of this. And this, I'd have to say, just because it's straight on, it already kind of disinterests how to present this information, because it's not dynamic enough. It's not gonna show off that feel and in just its silhouette. Because I could sit here and I could probably color, I could do some shadow, and that'll help you understand it. But if it's silhouette, the simple outline, the shape, doesn't make that much sense, it's gonna look uncanny when I even color it too, but it'll have more understanding, you'll be able to accept it more, but it might feel off. So we're always trying to keep that from happening, is to make things, because that's in the end, like any 3D modeler, everything's like, you got to think of everything when you design those worlds, design that stuff. You got to go, how do I make this so you don't think that there's something off, and every nuance makes a difference. So I mean, here's even another picture that's showing a really, really strong breakdown of shapes. And like, this is me looking at it this way, and we can go off of what they're doing here, which is and then we can just got that, and then we got the oblong, where that hair came from. I don't have many on my head, so I don't understand that, but anyways, so we got the ball. Now we do have toes. Now we got toes that are hidden behind this one, which is another thing that kind of hides the whole shape of this, and this goes into that shape. And of course they have this leading line. Oh, yeah, no, I was right. Leading line into this, because this is a strong line. And then they have another one going from here to here to present some of the shape. No, actually, this one comes all the way down because it's a solid line. And this one, to understand that foot, placement. But it's one of those angles I'm just not, I don't find that presents enough information. Now this next one that I'm looking at, the only difference is the line of action is quite a bit different. But almost similar. Because actually what we're doing is, it's got that curve and then it presents itself backwards. So instead of being this, where it's kind of curl and then coming forward, we got this dynamic that's pulling it backward. Doing that. Now see, this already has a more interesting shape of the foot, because we got this nice deep curve, leads into a ball of shape, which then leads upward to the ankle. Now again, I'm exaggerating these forms. We're going to take this presents outward. We got the heel coming inward. We also then come downward to the ball, which, since this is the angle, we've got more information we can show on the previous one because we have all this extra space to work with. So I'm going to automatically see this has a bit more dynamic that works expressing that foot. It's a little bit pudgier than I wanted, but that's fine. You know, that's one of the, it's like if I wanted it thinner, I think I would take in this side a bit more and just there we go. It's a little bit thinner. It's still, though, that has more dynamic aspects to it that I prefer than the previous one. So side profiles, kind of less interesting. They're necessary during animation because you obviously will show foot coming from that way to that way, so it's still, you know, to understand that moment, that keyframe moment. But I definitely would not want to stop on a frame that has it presented as sideways. It's a little too flat unless it has something to do with the story. Then that's a whole nother thing to think of. That's a whole nother thing to think of. I really like it when somebody draws the action lines in things because it really, that's what I'm more interested in seeing. 'Cause like I would on many occasions just start off in a situation of presenting something simple like this. And I go, okay, well then, how do I translate that in the body? Since this is the top, I'd probably say the head is further forward. See, just like we were doing with the other one. The body. Then come out. You can start seeing that shape. The hips are folding backward. You can go full 3D. Try to show. Yeah, we did go a little too high in that section. So again, the back of his hips are rolling away. I want to show that. So then this is the spine. Feeds into that. And then again, we have legs sitting on cylinders, and we got this shift. So we got one leg. It follows it pretty well. I'm even presenting this as like maybe this foot is so far forward. And even this one we understand a lot more. Because the side profile of that foot. See, that line of action is already telling me like these hips are rolled forward, the chest is, you know, leaning in. The head I have presented forward because I didn't bother to put in, I could have put in a line like this and he could have had his head like this, which in this case I could have had him laughing because his chest is going forward, his stomach is clenching from that laugh. But in this case I have the head going forward, so what is this? Is it more of, maybe I have a wider, yeah, see, my idea is that maybe his arms are up and further back. How much? Is he dancing? If he is, what dance is it? Actually, no, the one that comes to mind is the robot. Now I've just really made him like a big bruiser, handed, fisted thing. That hand is way too big. But the bigger point is definitely exaggerated a few features that don't need to be that exaggerated. I don't know. It's also a very interesting dynamic if I throw that in. Yeah, I am definitely off track from designing this character. You know, exploration is something that's necessary to understand your characters. And actually, for some odd reason, this has got a very strong. I think I've been watching and looking at a lot of Doug TenNaples stuff. That now I'm starting to think like, I think I just made the wide body frame and thin legs and cylindrical head like he does. Which, you know, my characters. This was it. Just doing some of them quickly. Here's that being Ginge right there, even. Ginge has that cylindrical head design. And they even have I even tried to present some aspect that would be more feminine. Even then, it still kind of comes off as everyone's very plain looking. And that's fine. But they all have that same kind of base cylinder. You take from what you enjoy and make it your own. And in this case, if I find my influences from another cartoonist, then you know that's perfectly fine, because that's what I like. But yeah, goodness. Still haven't resolved any of these other issues I'm having with, because I don't like the hand designs and I don't like the feet designs I'm doing for these. I recently just organized a bunch of things, so can I find it again? Things I need to look at. And maybe I should play around with some of these characters. Ah, here we go. We're gonna open them. But it has its own document. See, this is the rework of Jinjin. Somehow I made them in just as socks on. So I should always have this open kind of as a quick reference guide to understand my character, how I'm designing him, because it's from this base that everyone else is kind of created. I even have a new document, new rival character that I'm still kind of designing. And actually, that's right, this is going to be presented as twins, Cal and Trip. Just really looking at their color scheme. Sarcasm Puddle, y'all. Okay. Oh, and Kermit. There's a lot of stuff. There we go. That's me working with the whole action of that character. How is he presenting himself? So that's kind of what I'm trying to think, is like, what is the stance of? What's the stance of my lumberjack? Ah, dang it, Kermit. And see, this is still using the slice design of the eyes, but I was able to get more expression. You see, I really went through in really basic. There's the ink. I know I made a few more. So I even did a few more color changes of this character to really go through and take a look at which one best represents him. Even some skin tone changes. Those are some early sketches to kind of get an idea. Using triangles to display how his character is. An exaggeration of forms. So you can see how much I go through just to design a character. Now I'm wondering, what are those lines in reference to? There it is. Yes, yes, I can see quite a bit of the design issues here. Because there's the center of gravity, it should be over the foot. His head is actually probably supposed to be a little bit further forward. So when you kick, you almost pull up your chest. This is from my experience of playing soccer. I even went through and colored them. Interesting. Oh, look, there's a shadow. Yeah, sometimes, like, I haven't gone through this one in a while. Oh boy. There, see, I haven't broke him down to his basic shapes when I did my sketch. I really do think about all this, you know, blah. Beautiful lineage, accurate highlights. Oh, Sakura is dancing soccer. Okay, I remember that now. Yep, that's when I accidentally said Sakura instead of soccer one day, and Kayla made fun of me. That makes sense. That makes sense. There. See, this is just that, you know. Dang it, Kermit again. Finding these. Color scheme. Did I really do that to this character? I really did. I made a Pennywise mask. Fun. But anyways. So if this is the case, looking back at Ginge, seeing the simple shapes. Ah, that was Della. Wow, I really was like really, see, even then, I'm still not, wait a second, I had to have, I'm pretty sure I made shoes. I could have swore I did. What's that? Oh, that was a hairstyle. Another hairstyle. Oh, the Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I literally wrote in too plain. Makes sense. Alright. My biggest thing is if I was to take away the inking, would you still understand that that's the character? Would you still know that that is Ginger? That Ginge. That's what I was looking into the most. So when I look at that then, I do have circle for the head. And that's not that much. It's a very shallow W design. Under that. Definitely he's got more of a box, rectangular shape for his body. And that's what we want to present. I'm going to switch it on the blue. Definitely more boisterous. His hips are going the opposite. So they're rolling forward. Then presents interesting stance. as it opens up. Maybe. Actually, I don't have his head that much further forward. He's looking upward. Now, it's a very proud stance for him. Let's rethink that. And definitely looks more concerned. Definitely giving him prop right now. Since it's on the shoulder, it's very hard to present any of that info from that point other than what's underneath. And then, of course, we got there. There. Oh, where do I want his legs positioned? His legs, I think, is he moving? Taking a step forward solemnly. In our case, then this foot. Actually, then I kind of want this hand to be inside. pocket. Yes. Oh, that's way too many lines to make that. Yeah. That would definitely present the belt. He's very, very sad. I kind of need to flare this. This elbow needs to come out quite a bit. This is way too close to the body. So I do need to present it. Even do that. Where it's kind of out, it's lined up. The elbow and hand are lined up with one another as it should be to hold up that axe right over the shoulder. Yeah, it kind of makes me a little sad. Let's see how this works. Yeah, you know what? We're rounding off the 2-hour mark. Let's see how fast we can ink this, get this character kind of. I like the idea of keeping things a bit, again, straight edge, geometric shaped. Instead of doing like the round bulbous thing, that works. Oops, too much. Going. Goes. Nope, we want the inside, and then bigger as we go outside. And then even thinner to big. Oops. Keep it uniform. Somewhat. Okay. There. I'm thinking that there's very little, if any, info on that one, that side. Which actually, that's we don't need it. The face is turned enough. Get some of the ear in there. Keeping again to the. Yes. I like the expression. I'm liking how I'm still getting a lot of expression from these eyes, but it's really the body. And you know, I'm starting to remember some certain things like, you know, I really want the body to show more of the action than the eyes. I really want that. So if that's what I'm going to stay true to, I need to remember that that was my original decision for the eyes. And I might have doubted it for again, but you know, it takes some time to go back and forth and really understand why we made a decision the way we did. Because, man, I can't remember everything I chose. I could write it down and make it a lot easier. But once I've repeated enough, I'll remember it to the letter Y. And like I said, this is a rework, so I'm even trying to think of how can I present these characters differently for the next iteration and, you know, continuation of Ginger Snaps. So then come right on down to nah, let's redo that. Let's even do that. Then we're going to come across. Then this one, we got to present the bulge from the pocket. Remembering that this I do have, that's kind of just where the zipper belongs. Yeah, dynamic right into filling in these lines. Yep. Very nice. All right, so now definitely need to, I'm going to keep this dynamic for the feet. Nope. Oof. Almost. This one's got to come up. Big. Curve back in. I believe there we go. Yeah, I'm just going to leave them kind of with like more boxish kind of foot design, which works for him. So then That's where this perspective's getting kind of weird. We also got giving it some tread so I know the bottom of the foot. Give it a little also a little more understanding of which side is furthest from us. Even there. This, of course, it's the dynamic of going. Let's do it again. There you go. So again, closer, up higher. How about this even? This will work more. This bottom of it is smaller than the top, which is the tip that's going closest to us. Almost there. I wonder how many times we're going to do this one. It's definitely one of those lines I could take forever. It's like, it represents so much because it's so far in the front of everything. No. Come on. There. And recent. Oof. Again. All right then. Got really thin. Almost there. Kind of like how baggy his pants are with this design too. I still need to work on those feet, but and that right hand. Oh goodness. But I like how this presents quite a bit of story just to this character. So we're getting closer to him. It's the work. It's work in progress. All right. Well, with that, I'm gonna go. We're back to working on stuff for the website. Hopefully, I like being able to come back to these characters, hash them out a little bit further, especially after letting them sit for a while. because it's a process. You don't forget about them. You just keep thinking about them. Keep trying to go, how can I make it a little bit more? And this character is definitely getting there. So what? Can even. It's got a bit of a tone there. It's showing just a little bit, Got quite a bit of info. But then we also got to look at that compared to this character. This is what we're aiming for out of this one too. Given that, I definitely pull this back further. I need to make this arm show a little bit more. Maybe it actually is just that much thicker that I'm not presenting. Because I mean that's what this whole we'll go into. This whole area is not showing how thick that arm is. And that hand, yes, it's dynamic because it's showing it's fading away, but it's a little off a little bit. So really it's this whole side of the body that needs a little work. Once I draw this character enough times and really get this down how I want him, and especially with how I've done with Ginge, it'll just become boom. That's how I want it. I'll just probably even, I most likely won't skip the sketch phase, because sketch allows me to first take a look at before I commit to making the actual dynamic lines, in this case the inking of it. But yeah, I definitely like this character. I want to see him around more. Maybe he's a moral compass for our main character here, right? So then with that, I am Nathan Roman, aka BoogieMan. And again, if we I'm going to say this every time, if we get 5 more followers, I will sing for everyone, and we're aiming that once we get past that 100 followers, we'll then figure out the song, we'll figure out a bunch of other things, and then at Really Cool Comic Con, out on August 8th, I will sing right there in the convention hall, right in front of everyone. We'll record it, we'll post it to Facebook, we'll get everything up. This was originally what our plan was, to do this in this April, but of course we weren't hitting that 100-person mark. Now we got several more months. Let's see if we can actually hit that. See if we can get to 100 people and have me sing for everyone live. Trust me, my heart pounds just a little bit at the idea that I'd be doing this in a tutu, which is the other aspect. If we have 100 people that actually say tutu as well, I will dress up for the occasion. How fun. Yay, me! I'm so privileged to have friends that love to see me dress up for these. But again, I appreciate every time and any person that tunes in. Leave any comments, or make a request for a silly drawing. I will always see about doing it in the next stream. And of course, everyone, stay safe out there. Be vigilant as we all try to get through this time. All right, this is the BoogieMan dancing on out of here. I'll catch you critters later. Bye.